The number one ranked Ohio State Buckeyes host the Ohio Bobcats this week in Columbus, Ohio at the Shoe. Of course, everybody knows about the Buckeyes thrashing of Grambling State last week. Not exactly a fair fight. They win that game 70-0. Now, Ohio is coming off a very nice win at home. They beat West Virginia 17-10. Obviously a low-scoring game, being able to play some pretty good defense. That is what they are hoping to do so against Ohio State in week 3. It's amazing it's already week 3 of the college football season. Now, what will they have to do? What is the focal point immediately? Well, it is stopping the Ohio State passing attack. I know everyone's going to talk about the run game, but from what we've seen from the Buckeyes in the first 2 weeks, this really shows a lot more shades of what the Ohio State offense was in 2023 with Cal McCord or 2022 with CJ Stroud. It looks like they're going to really rely on that passing attack. They'll have the dynamic ability of Donaldson and Peoples bouncing the backs, similar to what they did with Junkins and Henderson in the backfield a year ago, but not as dynamic or explosive as backs with that type of breakaway speed, second round type guys to be able to run the ball as effectively and pass catchers out of the backfield. So we're going to see them really rely on more of a pure passer in what Sayin is than the athlete that Will Howard was in the veteran type presence. So what does that mean? Julian Sayin, how is Ohio going to match up in limiting the production of Ohio State's quarterback? How are they going to get pressure on him throughout the day so that he's just not sitting in the pocket with a ton of time? Because he went 18 of 19, 306 yards, 4 touchdowns in a pick. And I would even say my favorite play from Sayin, as far as a learning standpoint that he'll learn the most from, was that interception against Grambling State last week where his anticipation was late. He got rid of the ball late, didn't put enough mustard on a ball outside the numbers where you just have to put that ball really on a frozen rope to get it to your wide receiver. That's a way better teaching point than, let's say, if he threw another touchdown, went 20 for 20, 19 and 19, 315 yards. Like, what are you going in the room if you're Hartliner Day? So I actually really believe that helped him going forward, especially for this game. Ohio, you got to shut down Jeremiah Smith. Grambling State embarrassed themselves a little bit in the sense of if you're going to get beat, at least be defending him. He was wide open by 10 yards on an 87-yard touchdown, the longest pass play in Buckeye history. And then in the back of the end zone, he's just roaming free, wide open once again. That cannot happen. If you're going to lose, let it be Carnell Tate. It's not exactly like he's a less talented player than a number of guys in the country. I would say that Carnell Tate might even be a top 5, 6 wide receiver in college football. He's a number 1 wide receiver on pretty much every single team in college football except for this team. But by no means is he a number 2 wide receiver. It's 1A in JJ and 1B in Carnell Tate. So finding a way to try and have Carnell Tate beat you or let them go to the tight end because Max Klare hasn't had a ton of production so far. They split the ball around getting targets to Kesmerick and Jelani Thurman throughout the day against Grambling last week, but that's going to be necessary. If they go out there and they run the football, I would be fine with that. Why? Because that's going to take more time off the clock. I'd almost rather have them have that attack running the football because it helps you in the sense that more time is going to come off the clock. You want to shorten this game as much as you can, which is exactly my point and purpose, that you need to find a way to run the football, get easy completions for Navarro underneath so that you do not find yourselves throwing the ball deep into that Ohio State secondary where he's sitting there in the pocket trying to read that Matt Patricia defense, which has been fantastic. That is a recipe for disaster in the same way it happened for Arch Manning and Grambling, the 2 teams combining for 7 points. Do not have your quarterback sitting there. Have rollouts, have design plays where he has 1-2 reads and get rid of the football as quickly as you can, right? He's a bit of a mobile guy. We understand that. So using his legs and the run game, keep that darn clock ticking. Have a way. If you lose this game, find a way to have the time of possession be 33-27 for you. I don't want to be seeing the time of possession be in the favor of the Ohio State Buckeyes because we can imagine they're going to have some quick strikes. So stopping Jeremiah Smith, find a way to double him, make Carnell Tate beat you, which obviously is not a great option, but that's the only option that you have. Max Klare let the tight end beat you, and then starting off with the run game, finding a way to get the completions underneath. And then Caleb Downs, I mean, he wrecked the game for Texas. He had a beautiful interception against Grambling. I truly don't know if there's coordinators out there that know how to go against a guy that plays every single position on the football field except nose tackle. He has played nickel. He's played outside corner. He's played at that edge position coming down. He's played at that Tampa cover two, like middle third type linebacker, like Derek Brooks, Brian Urlacher used to play. He's played free safety, strong safety. He's played back 15, 18 yards back in the middle of the field, center field. He's played every position on the field. So you can't really game plan, to be honest, around Downs. It's almost like if he's on the right side, you almost have to just run it to the left. You got to make that check at the line of scrimmage, identify Caleb Downs first, and then adjust accordingly. If he ends up moving at the line of scrimmage, kind of like Harrison Smith does for the Minnesota Vikings a lot in the National Football League, I equate that, but I actually think that Caleb Downs has a lot more potential, and that's no slouch of a free safety in the hitman with his buzz cut. As far as the outlook, right? Ohio knows going into this game that they're a really heavy underdog. So what are you looking at as far as positive takeaways? You want to see discipline, right? That's what Grambling State talked about. We want to see a lack of penalties. We don't want to be seeing stuff before they snap. Energy is not going to be the same as what it was against Texas. So I would take my shots early. If I'm Ohio and you want to attack the crowd, if there's a shot that you want to take, have it happen early so you can find a way to get the positive yards quicker in this game and settle into it. If you want to take your shots, take them early in this game going at the Buckeyes before they can make their adjustments. Because if you can somehow find this game at 10-point margin going into halftime, you have a chance. You're able to keep this thing close going into the second half. If we're beyond 2 scores, the Buckeyes are going to be able to adjust, get their alignments, really start to lean with the trench play. And that's what I'll say. So far, the main weakness for Ohio State this season has been their pass rush, right? That front four of Caden Curry, Kenyatta Jackson, who got a little bit banged up in week 1, but came back last week. Caden McDonald, they're in the middle, Edric Houston. These guys have very good ability against the run, but they have not been great so far against the pass. They've got Atkinson still, CJ Hicks with the rotation, obviously Arvell Reese, Sonny. Now, I'm not trying to name, show off the guys that I know here, but it's about the ability. They have tons of playmakers on that defensive side of the ball that are great in run stuffing, and they're supposed to be great pass rushers, but we've only seen 3 sacks through 2 games so far for the Buckeyes. So if I'm Ohio, I'm taking advantage of that in the sense of like, okay, we're getting the ball out of Navarro's hands quickly into our playmakers. Get the ball to Hendricks when you can. And for Ohio State, offensively, it's very similar to the game plan against Grambling. It's like we need to continue to inject confidence into Julian Sayin. We need him to feel like he is the best player in college football next to 17-4, 86, that he's behind an offensive line that is one of the best in the country. Have been very impressed by this new unit, starting rotation of an offensive line that lost a lot of starters, 4 starters from that front gone from a year ago. Hinsman, I guess, played a good amount at the end of the year, but he's, it wasn't the start at the beginning. That was Seth McLaughlin's role until he got hurt in practice before the Indiana game. So on the Buckeyes, same exact game plan of what they came out against Grambling. You're getting the ball out of Sayin's hands quickly, and then you're developing, that double move. You saw Jeremiah Smith get open. You're continuing to build on that chemistry on the outside with Tate or Jeremiah, right? I would bet in this spot that they're going to have a fade ball to Jeremiah in the red zone. Try and have that be something that they can have a go-to, same type of thing for Max Klare. Try and establish that. If you can remember, that was his first touchdown he scored in his career against Akron. The first Buckeyes touchdown in 2024 was going to him on a fade ball. So I'd actually expect that a couple of times, adding another layer to building that connection between Sayin and him, because truly that is the most important connection on this team. When you have a type of talent like him and Carnell Tate and the way that they complement each other, you have to use that. And I mean, we're talking about Smith right now is a top 6 guy in the Heisman Trophy race. The 2 touchdowns for 116 obviously help. So it would be nice to see him get even further in that race, maybe go for another 100, a touchdown or 2 in this game. Nobody's going to be upset about that. Ohio fans, obviously, would be, but they understand the talent that this kid has. Final thoughts here are, it seems like this Buckeyes team has come out playing a little bit looser than we saw them at the beginning of last year. Remember, Iowa was a little bit shaky. Akron is closer than it needed to be. Michigan State was in a clean first half. Of course, the games against Nebraska, Oregon, the regular season, Michigan, Penn State. There was a ton of football. Northwestern they were down by a score of 7-0 midway through the second quarter. There were 8 games in the regular season last year where they did not look great in the first half. So far, Ohio State, you could say, has won the first half of both of these games. Can this be a team that looks like they did in the college football playoff? Tennessee, touchdown Jeremiah Smith, first possession of the game. Oregon, touchdown Jeremiah Smith in the first minute of the game. Third game, against Texas, touchdown against Texas. Notre Dame, touchdown. They started off each of those games with a touchdown in the college football playoff to get up 7-0. They were down. Notre Dame took the drive back, but Ohio State responded and was up 21-7 at the half before they ended. They were up by a margin of 24 points in that game. So you get what I'm saying here. When this team starts fast, when they are aggressive early, taking their shots, a bit more aggressive than what they were like against Texas, and if they were to play that team again, you would assume you see something more like what they were in the CFP. That is what Ryan Day, you kind of have a smirk about it because you know that that's what Ryan Day is trying to build to. The way they looked against Georgia in the 2022 semifinal game where CJ Stroud just came out on fire, throwing the rock around the place because they were like, they just don't have the players that can cover Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. What team in college football has the athletes to cover Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Max Klare? There is no team in the country, not even the Buckeyes defense, if they were able to give some of their own players, would have an easy time covering that. So that's what they're building towards, having this offense by November, by late October, a big matchup against Illinois, looking like what they did in the playoff. So that's what the game plan will continue to look a lot more like, to the point where teams know that it's coming, and they just do not have a way to stop it, much like the tush-push. So that's what you can expect against Ohio. Them taking shots early and often, of course, establishing the run in a sense because they need to, keeping them honest, but attacking, going at guys. Because Brian Hartline, the former wide receiver coach, could argue the best positional coach in college football for the last couple of years, the way they've recruited 4 straight classes of first-rounders, he knows that these guys are more talented. If they end up getting beat one-on-one, so be it. We're going to go see if you can go beat my guy 2 plays, 3 plays in a row. Can you do that? Most of the time, there's not a shot in heck that can happen. So that's what we're going to be seeing from Ohio State expanding. I know I went a little bit past the Ohio game there, but you can just feel it, that the energy going forward here. So I appreciate you so much. Prediction in this game, I have Ohio State winning it 52-7. I think that Ohio gets a touchdown at some points, but the Buckeyes are able to come out with a win 52-7. They dominate a lot like they did last week, looking very similar, and find a way to win before the bye week, before they have a game against Washington. Ohio, after Ohio State, they'll have a chance for a lighter game against Gardner-Webb and then Bowling Green, who will be a bit of a tricky opponent. So thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you so much. Make sure to subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.